we're rolling, just hold that.
Hey guys, Mark and Andy here. We've been in Glacier National Park for a week shooting it up like crazy on a full workshop. Lots of fun. But we're here today to talk about time lapses. What makes some good scene for time lapses?
Time lapses are great because we've got these incredible moving clouds today. You can do them with moving clouds. You got the water moving in this case. You can do sunrise, sunset, and then you can also do the Milky Way at night.
So that's really cool. Now, you know, I've seen a lot of different setups on different cameras, but I know, for example, on Canon, you have to have an intervalometer, which will fire the exposure so many times with such a duration between each exposure.
Yep.
But the cool thing is, like Nikon's and also the newer mirrorless cameras, they got it built in. So you don't need anything extra.
GH3 is built in. I think Olympus has it built in. The D800 is built in.
Yeah, so it's easy for anybody to get what they need to do this, because you just need a tripod and a camera and the
tripod, camera. Don't even move the camera. You can get an app.
Oh yeah.
And run it from your iPhone,
run it
iPad,
or your Android.
Canon.
There's apps for all of it. So that's cool. Tell us about the other setting.
Settings are, if you're thinking about doing it in the daylight, it's different than the nighttime or sunrise, sunset. Daylight is, you know, basically your normal exposure, manual mode, manual focus, so it doesn't change when it's auto-focusing every time. And then you want to set the white balance to 5500
daylight,
which is daylight.
Yeah.
So do all that. And then if you want to get a 30-second time lapse, Andy, do the math. Help me.
Like 3-second intervals, that should be about 900 shots. Might take 45 minutes.
So probably have a new battery?
Yeah, you better make sure your batteries are full and your memory card is empty. I don't know what to do next. I've got a folder on my computer with 900 RAW files on it.
Yep.
And now I want to make it so that my friends and fans and family can take a look at it. What do I do?
Well, you've got 30 seconds of footage.
Right.
And you've got 900 frames.
Right.
So if you don't have that much space, you don't want to take that much time shooting JPEG.
Okay, that's cool.
Or you can shoot in RAW.
Right.
And you can process one in Lightroom, sync it with all the other files, so they'll all look the same.
So if the white balance wasn't just right, or if the exposure needed an adjustment, that makes good sense too.
Yeah, and then you can open up the shadows, darken the highlights, all the stuff you can do in Lightroom, you can do to a RAW
If I do that in Lightroom and I want to export, I got to export them to something, I'll export them to JPEGs, what size would I do?
Well, think about it, you got your television, which is big HD.
Right, oh, so 1920.
So 1920 by 1080, unless you went out and bought one of those 4K TVs.
Right.
So you can go buy a 4K TV. With a D800, you've got plenty of resolution. You can export as 4,000 pixels.
So
and open up that beautiful time lapse on a 4K TV.
We're not done yet, though. I've got the files processed. How do I put it together, and what's the software that we use to make it so that it's a movie that people can watch on the internet or
that's easy
anywhere? Easy
peasy. There's some apps in Lightroom, or plugins you can get for Lightroom, or there's a program I use all the time. It's called Sequence.
Okay.
Just opens all the files up from a folder, puts them all together. You can actually add a little deflicker if your camera does that, or just export it as a movie. Done. That's simple.
So cool. All right, I got to tell you, after all this, I have one last question.
What are you thinking about?
Why are we standing in the middle of a river?
Because we have the best boots on in the world.
Oh my God, these Neos over boots. My feet are toasty warm and dry, and we were standing out in the middle of this river. You guys got to try them. That was really cool. We just did a time lapse with basic gear that anybody has, and we got a really cool 30-second time lapse with 900 pictures, and it shows something different than the stills that we've been working with. But I've seen some time lapses that feature movement, and I'm just curious, how do you achieve that effect?
Well, you're looking at my little kit here, which does a very simple task. It moves the camera from left to right over the course of an hour or two. And what that does is when you put all those frames together in one 30-second clip, you can see whatever's in the foreground moves compared to the background. So, it gives it more action.
Foreground is moving and the sky is moving, and it gives it more action and drama. That's really cool. Okay, so I see this rail setup, and I can see how my camera attaches, and I see there's a motor and there's batteries to power it, but this rail's got to be supported by something. How do you do that?
2 tripods, one on each end. You can put it up at different heights. Wow. And they clip in to little clips I have, universal clips made by Really Right Stuff, that are on both ends of the rail.
Right.
And the cool thing is I used to use these big tripods, but Andy, you've now given me something much better that actually fits in the one bag.
These tripods are travel tripods from Benro, and you guys can see they start out flat, and they pack in your suitcase nice and easily. They fit in your camera bag, and they're carbon fiber and super strong and sturdy. They come with a ball head that does everything you'd expect it to do, including a bubble level and rotating for panos. Now that we've covered sort of basic and advanced time-lapse kind of stuff, I have a curious question. How did you get into this in the first place?
I just like the fact that when something isn't happening in a still picture, how fun it would be to see it evolve over time, right? Like a movie.
Right.
But I didn't really want to get into making movies.
Okay.
And then I saw Planet Earth. Of course, they had these incredible time lapses of things happening that I could never film. So it was just a way to kick it up a notch, right? And so it's fun. And then that, of course, evolved into, I got to get more action in the scene. And so I made my own rail and my own kit because I needed it really lightweight.
Well, I don't have to make my own, though. They're selling them out there now, right?
There's a bunch out there. In fact, there's a really good one that we just bought.
Right.
That's made by
Dynamic Perception. Yeah.
And that's, that is under, the whole kit's under $1,500.
Yep.
It's not cheap, but it's lightweight and it's maybe a little bigger, but I think it collapses. So
Collapses, and then when you add the Benro travel pods into it, it just makes a perfect kit.
you'll have a bag, something about like this.
Just like this. That's great. Now when I'm shooting these time lapses, they're going to go for an hour, 2 hours, maybe up to 5 hours, right? I can still go take my other system, my Nikon or my Canon, and do my stills.
That's why I would bring 3 tripods.
Yeah, that's awesome.
2 cameras.
All right, time lapse photography with Muench Workshops.
Go have fun.